what do you think about the 6 core therapeutic processes of ACT, starting with contacting the present moment?
Contacting the present moment, being in the now, or being in the eternal now, is very important for one's growth. It's important that one learns how to let go of the past, let go of the future. Now is the only time there is, and each instant is for giving, radiating divine love, and for forgiving, which is to let go of, which aids one in dwelling in the current now. When one is in the now, one isn't caught up in past or future mind stuff. A neat thing about that is the more one is in the now, one is able to build momentum. The word moment and momentum correlate because moment is in the momentum. And with that strong momentum of the now, when one decides to introspect, one is able to look back at past events without being affected, glean the hindsight lesson, bring that into the now, and learn even better what not to do and how not to be, which will aid them in figuring out what to do and how to be. Thus, dwelling in the now, learning to do that, is priceless.
The second of the core therapeutic processes of ACT is diffusion, which is watching your thinking and learning to step back or separate or detach from our thoughts, images, and memories.
To look at one's thoughts, emotions, and actions from the point of the observer or divine self takes momentum building of practicing that modality and asking specific questions. So one truly starts identifying with whom and what one truly is. In order to look at one's thoughts, one must first be able not to be immersed in them. The same thing goes with the emotional body. If people think they're their thoughts, if people think they're their emotions, if people think they're their physical form, then having that diffusion, having that ability to step back and then look at is very difficult. It just stays in a conceptual context. With spiritual practices and momentum building, one gets a handle on that. One is able to heart connect. One is able to feel and embrace, knowing that they are not their emotions. They have them. Reaching that point is what real training is about. And I am glad this is part of what ACT is doing. Acceptance is a major facet of love. Without that step of acceptance, one is not going to be able to gain what is truly needed. I use the divine as an example with my students. For instance, the divine is omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent. So therefore, what does the divine avoid? It's pretty interesting to look at it that way. So I teach my students that we are aspects of the divine and are divine ourselves, so therefore, learn to embrace instead of avoid. Don't run away from pain. Don't run away from emotions. Run towards them. Embrace them with love. By accepting them and bringing them to your being, one is better able to see what needs to be done for proper management of self. The suppression, the repression, the survival modes all start fading at that point back to the egoic well springs from whence they came. Enlightenment is awareness. Self is awareness. the more one identifies with whom and what one truly is, the more awareness one has of what they are and the lower bodies they have. One becomes more aware of the multiverse, the many planes of existence that the human God form is hooked up to. As that awareness increases, one's ability increases to stay present in the moment, to diffuse, to accept, and have more joy and gratitude in one's life. One realizes they're not the lower bodies. All pain and suffering stems from lower body identification. When one knows who and what one truly is, one can grow to the point where one suffers not while suffering life's fate. I teach my students the 3 Ps, and if needed, a 4th P. But the main 3 Ps are purpose, patience, perseverance. The 4th one on occasion is posture, because posture is very important for the human God form. The purpose being soul evolution. In the context of ACT, it is self-awareness and self-determination in alignment with good things in life, good values. So one is an enhancing factor in society. In the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 14, it talks about the 3 gunas. In the 4 main yogas of life, I aid my students in ascending and transcending the gunas. Ignorance, passion, into goodness, and then beyond. And when I speak of passion, I'm not talking about passion as being passionate for something. I'm talking about getting caught up in passions of life that cause one to stay more and more and more involved with lower body identification. The importance of being in that mode of goodness is ignorance is like an iron shackle. Passion is like aluminum. And goodness is like a light shackle. So it's easier to transcend even goodness. The important part of goodness in society is in that mode of goodness, one is an enhancing factor in society, which is very important. The reason why I teach the need to transcend even goodness is because people can get addicted to wanting to feel good and to do good and to feel happy, which causes them to go into loops, which can cause them sometimes to revert back into other modes. Firm resolve is important. When I mentioned the 3 Ps of purpose, patience, and perseverance, the purpose, soul evolution, the committed action of patience, so one doesn't fall prey to frustration, the committed action of perseverance, so one doesn't get easily swayed when they embrace things along the way that may feel to the lower bodies tumultuous, therefore shy away from. Oh, that's too hard. Difficulty lays in the perception. A mountain climber that is seasoned will walk up to a mountain, view the mountain, smile, be in a place of love, be committed to summit, and be committed along the way to learn about that mountain. A mountain climber that is not seasoned will look at the mountain and go, wow, okay, I'm going to do this, but it's going to be rough, and this, that, and I can see that area there. You know, we might have to base camp there, but if we can't, we'll go there. And that's all well and good. It's a growth step. At least they're focused still on transcending the mountain. I would choose the first route of proper embracing. That is what is truly important when one is involved with being committed to an action. By properly embracing it, one is less shaken and less easily swayed by what they may come up against. Psychological flexibility is very important. I teach my students that physical flexibility is part of yoga. But if one isn't flexible in the inner, then what good are they? Being flexible in the inner is what ACT is talking about. Being able to embrace, being able to love that which the ego, the lower bodies may perceive as hard and difficult, when all that is a perception. Being flexible to what comes our way on this plane of existence, so we can not get caught up in it. Use the tools, as ACT would say, diffuse, step back, look at, analyze, and find the best route that an individual can take to properly embrace, go, grow, and glow, transmute, heal, and stay on their chosen path of a committed endeavor. When a master is walking on this plane of existence, that is a person who has done enough of their first works to have direct cognition, divine sight, divine hearing in high levels and percentages, when one knows without doubt whom and what they truly are, one is taking out of the equation a person who has the ability to transmit data. So it's not just dry mental body speculation. My students that I work with, whom I truly love and adore, I transmit attunements, spiritual gifts, shifts in perception. So besides what they read, they have an experiential experience for better understanding. So that way when they do their applications, they have better understanding. Transmission is very important. It adds to the equation of enlightenment. Namaste. Psychology, in its essence, from ancient times, is the study of the soul, or whom and what one truly is, and how it relates to the lower bodies one has. I am very happy with what ACT is doing because it is taking psychology back into its roots. The four lower bodies are lower aspects of the spiritual body, which blends in with the spiritual aspects of the mental emotional body or astral bodies, and then this physical form. Once more, those are things we have. When one focuses on whom and what one is, which is what true psychology is about, then one is better able to understand the workings of the mental, emotional, physical form. By focusing on the heart, which is where the mental body resides, one is better able to understand. By focusing on the heart, the stuff of the mind becomes known. That is a major facet of true psychology. Namaste.
Yeah.